When you start to let go of control of this absolute human need to know how long things should take or lining things up perfectly, being attached to expectation and timelines, when we start to release that environmental external control and start taking and utilizing that energy to turn inwards and really look at who do I need to become. And what I mean by, to me, who do I need to become goes back to the very basic principles of, if there's something in my life that I'm not happy with, if there is something in my life that doesn't feel good or feel right, no matter how long it took and no matter how excruciating the process may feel, I am committed to figuring it out. I am committed to leaning into the truth that everything happening outside of me is a reflection of what's happening inside of me. And knowing that and understanding that things used to feel so hard. Even being successful in business, I remember every day having to push through and force myself, and I always attributed that to this young energy. And yes, it was definitely that, but it was also this ego need to succeed. That was the only way I could prove my worth to myself. And it was very similar to when you buy something to fill a void, or when you buy it and it lasts like a hot minute and then it's like right back to where you were. That was the same sensation forcing action. I would always do it, but it came at a cost. And the cost for me was something no one could see because I didn't allow them to see it, because again, I never thought I was enough. I truly believed I was not enough. It was who this avatar was, and every single thing that showed up as an obstacle, that showed up as confrontation, that showed up as chaos, it was really me being those things. And me being those things attracted more of those things. That is a part of the process that until you can release and surrender control to a finish line or a timeline, it will be excruciating. And this whole conversation about the healing journey, self-healing, it's like, I mean, at this rate, I think we're just always expanding and healing. I think it's growth. It's just evolution. And what we're doing is, by releasing that weight, that metabolic waste in our body, we're making space for energy, for the light body. And the light body is what feels easier, feels abundant, because it's not forcing, it's now attracting. And so when that became the focus of my journey, instead of what I was achieving, what I didn't know then, what I recognize now very recently, is that was what we like to call timelines. I believe that when you feel like you've completely shifted a timeline, if that doesn't make sense to you, it's totally fine. What I believe is that we've collected the necessary information, released whatever needed to release, learned what needed to be learned. We've acquired this knowledge that we shift into a new frequency, and that new frequency dictates a new possible outcome and timeline. And when that happens continuously and rapidly, it can feel very disconnected sometimes, because what I was used to feeling was this heaviness, this weight, this discomfort, so I was so busy mentally figuring things out. I was so busy psyching myself up for things. I was so busy telling myself stories. My mental hamster wheel was constantly going. And this monkey brain that's going on autopilot is what connects us to the matrix. It's what connects us to need. It's what connects us to suffering. It's what connects us to overconsumption. Because the monkey brain is out of control. And that's where the force comes in, and that's where that magnetic pull, it's like you're constantly in this frequency that is so dense. It's like this human form, and so everything takes more energy. It's like lifting something that's 5 pounds or lifting something that's 10 pounds. One is going to be lighter than the other. And I believe it's the same for the frequency we're holding in our body and how that results in what we're experiencing externally. Because when we're trying to think of what our why is, I'm jumping. That was a big thing. Figure out the why, your why, the mission. You always hear this, and you think about it, and you're like, okay, like this makes sense. This pulls on my heartstrings. Like, you're figuring out your why. If you're in business, you figure out the why that makes you cry, they always say. And so you're thinking about it, and yeah, you find something and it sounds pretty good, and you write it out and it gets a bit better, and you keep working on it. And then there's the moment that the why becomes planted on your heart as a knowing, and it comes from, you could say, nowhere. I call it God. It's a God message, a God call. And this new mission, this why, is way bigger than anything that your mind could create. And in order to get yourself prepared, the temple prepared to receive divine wisdom, to receive divine instruction and be able to execute it, it takes a certain level of surrendering, of patience, of unconditional love. Because so often in the waiting, in the in-between, in the healing, in the integrating into this stagnance, we like to call it, in the boredom, is actually when we are being prepared for what comes next. But we try to rush that part. We try to rush the integration. We try to rush all of these things because it's the mind being attached to an expectation and an outcome and a time. So the monkey mind is taking over and creating expectation in the body, and the expectation of the body means that you're resonating at the frequency that you don't have it yet, which means you're pushing it further away. And the moment that you can surrender and release that need to control, knowing that you have infinite time and space because you're here to live this life for a person beyond your understanding, is when you release control, you start enjoying the present moment, and that is where it happens. And I am sharing this from my own experience and understanding, and even the words that I say won't change the trajectory of your experience right now, because we all have to experience what we experience, and until words are felt, they don't truly make sense. But our divine blueprint already knows. And the more that we use the monkey mind to create separation by creating expectation, the more we push what we actually want away until it's so far away that we don't even know what we want. We're just craving things. We're just needing and wanting things because we feel so separate from everything. And the more we release and the more we surrender, which is what we call healing, the more we shed those layers physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the more present we are, the more attached and whole we feel, because now we're connected to everything and we have no expectations. We're totally content and happy and joyous in the present moment, needing nothing, is when everything gets brought to us. And that is the magnetic pull. The more we want, the more dense we become. The more peace we find, the lighter we are, the more magnetic we become. It's all connected, all of it, which means that if we are the sum of our environment and we are surrounded by people that are in that dense energy, we are either going to work very hard to stay elevated, or eventually we're going to come down to meet the density and stay dense, because we become one with our surroundings. And that's why when we step out into nature and we get away from our phones and we put away all of these distractions, we start to find that rhythm of nature, that frequency of the earth. And immediately in those moments, your frequency will start to elevate without you doing or thinking anything. And so when we remove ourselves from certain environments and we put ourselves in new environments that are inspiring, that are new, that are curious, that we're around other people that are consciously in this process, then we become either the one who stays down here or we come up to meet them. And that is not hierarchy, that is frequency. And it reminds me of a balloon filled with helium as it's floating away. It's light, it's airy, it's frequency, right? And when something, if you were to put a weight on that balloon and it comes back down to earth, it becomes dense, it becomes matter. It's no longer whimsical and flying, it's stagnant, it's stuck. Every action and every thought is our energy. And if we're not conscious of what's going on, our entire personality and all of our behaviors become reactions to the density inside of us. And when we mix emotional density with spiritual density, with physical density, which is toxins and plastics and all that stuff, and all of that comes together, then it imprisonates our being, our body, and our soul. It's all connected. It's why now when we choose our own healing and our own journey, our own spirituality, when we just choose to follow what it is that we require and we put all of our trust in God, knowing that as long as we are willing to take action, because we're not talking about sitting around doing nothing, we're taking action, we are moving forward, we are giving to the collective, not working, serving in some way, shape, or form. We are staying diligent in our self-care, because the way we treat ourselves is the way we show up in the world, and the world responds to our frequency. So if we're pouring into ourselves and we love ourselves and we love everything around us, the universe sends us more love. And when we ignore ourselves and dismiss ourselves and have no love for ourselves, it's very hard to see love around us. So we start casting judgment and hate and pointing fingers, and then the universe responds to that and sends us more of that. It's all connected. And so this journey of wellness, of health, of biohacking, it is more. It is way more than abs and looking a certain way. I almost feel that some of that is the outcome of this healing, this regeneration, this regenesis of the physical body, the purification of our soul while purifying our body. This is why it's all connected. And so often we are just so fixated on how we look, the external obsession, again, the attachment, that we forget about the rest because we can't tangibly see it. But we've forgotten to tune into the body's wisdom to be our guide and to be the information required. We forgot what feeling feels like. We've gotten so used to thinking deciding, but what about feeling, surrendering, softening, allowing the body to speak to us with sensation and feeling? That's the wisdom. That's the information. We just don't know how to listen to it. We've become disconnected from it because of the monkey mind. And when we turn off the monkey mind and we come back into the body and we lean in and we tune out to lean in, meditation, tune out to lean in, come back to the body, listen to the body, recognize the monkey mind, right? Then we can hear what it's saying. We can hear what the pain is saying, what the aches are saying. We can say what the gut is saying. We hear it. We know it. It's a knowing. But we can't hear if we don't listen. And so all of this journey it's so interesting, because after years of hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on traveling the world and retreats and healing and workshops and certifications and diplomas, all of which were great, at the end of it, it comes back to the most simple things, which is love thyself, love thy temple, take care of thyself, take care of thy temple, serve God, serve your practice, whatever it is, to God, universe, source, Buddha, what it is to you, serving that practice, fueling that practice, working out your spiritual practice like you work out your physical body, move the body, love other people, love yourself. I've realized that being still and having the freedom to contemplate and listen to my heart and allowing divine wisdom to lead the way instead of my monkey brain trying to force the way, I've found joy, I've found peace, I've found true soul connected love. I have very beautiful relationships because it comes down to the simple fact that we are here to experience connectedness and love. And so wherever you are at on your journey and you don't see the bigger point and it seems frustrating and exhausting because you're working against your environment and no one's really seeing what you're throwing down, not really supporting you because they're not there, and you changing is now a mirror to what they're not doing, so they push you away and outcast you in some sort of way. It's not you. It's not you. Keep going. Keep elevating. Keep being the change the world so desperately needs. Get in tune with nature. Let the silence give you wisdom. Open your heart and receive and take radical action, knowing that you only have this one life, so why not live it? Why do we always need to be told how to be, what to do, how to act, what to say, what to eat? Oh, I mean, that's a whole other topic. Food. The body tells us. I was vegan for 10 years, vegetarian for 15 years. I recently started eating red meat. I'm not telling anyone what to do, but my body told me. I started dreaming about it. I started tasting it. I hadn't tasted it in like 15 years. Now I eat it every day. Could it be my gut flora? I don't know. Is that what I thought it was? Maybe. The body told me what it needed. I feel great. Had to get out of my monkey brain that told me not to do that. I tuned in. I released expectation. Every time I didn't want to listen to something that was coming down into my being, I asked myself why. Where is this showing up in everything that I'm doing? This whole life is about personal discovery. It's a journey within. It's a journey into the unknown, what we can't see. We can't see inside our body. Imagine we could see how our body responded to the food we put in our mouth. We'd probably eat very differently. Imagine we could see how much work it takes for our heart to beat without us consciously thinking about it. If we could see in our body, we'd treat it different. We can't see it. Same way we can't see spirit most of the time, unless it's everything, but we can't see. Can't really see energy. Can't really see God in this form. And so we treat it different. Imagine we could see it, and imagine we could actually see God in everything and everyone the way that it is. Imagine we could see that. We'd probably treat everything very differently. So what if we were to start treating the things we can't see with as much time and wisdom and compassion and love as the things we can see? Imagine the love that we feel every time we see our partner. Imagine we started feeling that every time we looked at ourselves in the mirror. You can't tell me that coming back to that place of love wouldn't start healing the planet one person at a time, because we're all connected. It's all connected. One person leaving the comfort zone to pursue their potential, that's one more person. You don't think that that's going to have a ripple impact on everything and everyone around you? Of course it is. You just may not see it. And that doesn't matter, because that's, again, the ego validation of what is, instead of just knowing it's all connected. So all we can do is come back to ourselves, come back to God, come back to this place of love and service and gratitude and fulfillment, and realize that that's not some hokey pokey dream that everyone talks about. It's reality. It's what we can't see. That's why they keep showing us all these graphics and chaos and world events, so that's all that we're seeing. Because if it's all that we're seeing, we're not focusing on what we're not seeing, and what we're not seeing, it was what really matters. Story for another day. So I've had a lot of big moments recently, beautiful experiences where I have felt this massive transformation happening. It's been years of feeling very much in this bubble, not understanding the purpose of all of these, what felt like such horrible pains in my life. And now it's starting to come full circle, and I understand that everything I experienced was preparing me for something more. And so now I feel like I'm finding the words to share. And I don't know who or what or when this will land to who, where, yet I know that it's meant to be expressed through me for you, through me for me. We're all connected. And I believe that everything I look at now, everyone I speak to, everything I do, realizing that it's connected to everyone and everything, brings a lot more meaning to my time and purpose. And I hope it does for you too. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for this beautiful moment to connect. Thank you for giving me eyes to see, ears to hear, and mouth to speak the words of your truth. Sending love to all of you. Love, love, love.